Good, you got it.
19-year-old Aided Reyes is one of California's top-ranked community college athletes. Later this week, she'll compete for the state championships in long-distance running. But last fall, she was just a stride away from being deported to Mexico. Reyes and her boyfriend had been sitting in his car at night at a South Bay park.
I just felt like a flashlight in my face, like a flashlight was running in my face, and I was just like, what's going on? And the cop was like, oh, you guys are not supposed to be here. It's past 10:30.
The cop refused to accept Reyes' school ID cards and pressed her for her Social Security number. When she finally confessed she didn't have one, the cop called immigration authorities, and Reyes was detained.
And then they just took me away, and I couldn't really see where was I because it was dark and there has no windows. So I literally didn't know where were they taking me, and I was really scared. I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it.
Once in detention, Reyes says immigration officers pressed her to sign a document consenting to immediate deportation.
And I was like, but I don't want to be deported. He's like, well, why don't you want to go to your country? And I was like, because that's not my country. I was raised here, I was born there, but I don't know a single city, or I don't know what's over there. I want to stay here. It's like, oh well, the chances are you're gonna be sent back. Being honest with you, I would just sign the paper and leave and then just wait 10 years and come back. And that's when I was like, well, I don't have 10 years to come back. I have a race next week on Thursday.
After several days in detention, Reyes was released in time to lead her cross-country team to a regional championship title. Soon after, her deportation case was closed under a new policy called prosecutorial discretion, and she was back to concentrating her full attention on school and running. Reyes is one of several thousand undocumented immigrants to avoid deportation under this policy, announced by the Obama administration last year. It directs immigration officers, lawyers, and judges to focus resources on prosecuting and deporting serious criminals and those who have repeatedly violated immigration law. People like Reyes, who have strong ties to the community or who have been living in the U.S. since they were young children, will have their deportation cases reviewed and possibly closed. Some analysts think President Obama is pandering to both sides of the political spectrum in an election year.
They're still promising to deport roughly 400,000 people a year. So how do you make that policy more politically palatable, particularly to Latino organizations, immigrants' rights, advocacy groups, to rank-and-file voters within the Democratic Party base? You make it more palatable by focusing the attention of the system on criminal aliens.
About 300,000 undocumented immigrants have deportation cases pending in immigration courts across the country. Reyes and the small fraction of others whose cases have been closed under the new policy are grateful. But, and here's the catch, they're still undocumented.
Because as of today, if you file for prosecutorial discretion, there's no work permit. Once they get the case closed temporarily, what will they do? They basically have nothing. They fall in the same situation like they were before.
So Reyes still can't legally work. She can't get a driver's license. She can't apply for federal loans for school. All she has is a piece of paper from immigration authorities saying she's already been through the system and that her case is temporarily closed. She takes that paper with her everywhere.
It makes me feel more safe, but not completely safe because I still don't know what's going to happen. Because what about later on the laws change or, and then that paper's going to be nothing.
Reyes was in middle school when she found out she was born in Mexico and brought here as an infant. Since then, she's been trying to ignore the giant obstacle of being undocumented. Her near deportation was a wake-up call.
Good.
Even though I'm living here and making my life here, I feel like I really don't exist here.
For the time being, Reyes plans to continue running, studying, and preparing for a future in this country. She passionately wants to become a citizen, but only has a few options for getting there. Her best chance might be a private bill Congressman Bob Filner introduced, which would grant her permanent residence. But such bills rarely get through Congress.
Chest forward.
If Reyes somehow finds her way to a U.S. passport, her track coach, who's a former Olympian, thinks you might just see Reyes running in Rio in 2016 in a red, white, and blue uniform.
Clear the water, all the way.